he's the perfect man to lead a team like this. So we'll have to see how it goes, because we are off big on the CT side of Dust2, North on the T side. And already we see the B rush coming into play, as Yugi will be diving in head first. Dennis will be the one to try to stop this. He does have some assistance, but not for too long. Dennis trying to do what he can from big box. Gets himself 3. That is pretty good.
That is a huge third frag. There's a HE for Godby. We'll see how that is able to be used. Tabson creeping behind the smoke already. Should get a free one on Valde. There we go. Finally gets a headshot, and there's enough distraction surely for the trade. Xantares comes in for the headshot. Nice play from Dennis. You could see how he started to slow down with his shots as he started to be low on bullets in the magazine. That last kill, last ditch, one click and then done. So that's a strong start, and I can hear some shouting in the background already. And that's fantastic for Big, because of course they're a team with, I know, all they've experienced recently beyond qualifying for the stage is failure for the most part. So to have a good start psychologically, I think, is very strong indeed.
And we get the full save from North. So that's good to see. I think on the CD side, it's more expected to see the force buy, but here we go. We get, did Tizian see something? It looks like he may have done. He does fall back in response, which would be the right play. You don't need to go out there and potentially just give up a free kill if they see you coming and they're stacked up in that position. So at this point, it's a waiting game. That smoke is down, and there's nothing North can do about it. They don't really have the utility to cross over from Catwalk to the A bomb site for that short plant, which is what a lot of teams like to do, but you do need at least a couple flashbangs and a smoke to do it, at minimum. So, yeah, this is just a waiting game, James. I don't know what else North can really do with this.
Dennis has 300 ADR. Enjoy it while it lasts. A tag with the scout. So there was an MP9 and an M4 here earlier on, and there was spray through the smoke, so they would have got that info. And now there's a scout, which would suggest 3 players in or close to the B bomb site, and that might be part of North's decision to rotate. Now, there is a player in the mid position, and you can see them creeping away, not to show. I don't know if that works or not, but I don't hear any shots, so maybe it did. We have Godby in the long position. So it'll be interesting. There's no smoke for the cross if they can take out Godby. I don't know if Xantares is going to have time to throw a flash for Godby, although Godby will probably take some shots and then fall off into the pit. Oh no, he's choosing to stand and fight instead, but I feel like that's a mistake because Xantares could have thrown a flash for him. If you look at the way Glaive plays that position, that's a perfect example, but more of that later. Now, can they cross to get the bomb? They can't stand and take tools. They've got to get a gauntlet, but the bomb is miles away. The bomb is on Kiabi, last man standing. He's got a fan mass. He could just about make it, but that tag really needed to run with the knife out and take the gamble, but it won't be. So I'm really surprised that Godby chose to stand and fight there, because he's standing on the ridge of the fall off.
So he can fall back.
Yeah.
When he gets flashed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
His teammate's got a flashbang, throw the flash peek, and you're in a much better position than standing there blind. So that's an unusual one.
It's a bait setup. It's maybe you get a kill if you don't get blind, then you fall back, then your teammate gets to bait you, and vice versa. Like it's very weird, James.
It's greedy.
It is very greedy indeed. And that could cost them, because in that round, they shouldn't have lost any guns. I think it's reasonable to say that losing any guns is a problem, given what North invested. And now North have a superior firepower to play this round out. That's a decent nade. Good chunks there from Xantares. And that's actually not a bad timing. Get the flash there. And that flash is really important because it also suggests that you could actually creep out with it. You check the close spots and you can get out. So the CDs have to try to check to make sure that they understand where you are going. And Tabson will check and he will die. And there goes the B-split smoke. North were ready for that response to go straight into an explosive play. Speaking of which, Xantares straight through the smoke, and the trade comes in from Valde for the 2 versus 2.
At the same time, Kiabi was making his way through the tunnel into the B bomb site, and he won his duel as well, so it's open if the bomb can make it there. But the bomb needs to be collected at the moment. We've got Dennis creeping in that mid position. The bomb is still very exposed. Looking for the rotations. They know where one of the players is, but where is the other one? Valde gets his bell rung, and he might just get finished off here. Godby has been taken out in the meantime. Dennis wants to try and pursue the 1v1 before Kiabi rotates in, but he'll die to the flames as the bomb gets planted on the B-bomb site.
Okay, so that's a very quick conversion. And again, now we can see the impact of them losing, what was it, 2 or 3 guns? Was it just 2 guns in the end? I think it was just 2 guns in the end in the previous round. Indeed, Tabson and Dennis with less money than everybody else. So that kind of sucks. So instant eco from them, and North get a chance to steal the momentum away immediately. And Yugi's going to pick up a scout. which I'm a fan of. How can you not be a fan of the Scout?
Yeah, I think one gun lost purely because of the numbers game would be acceptable in that previous round, but it's just like for a team who are already struggling pretty much on all maps, I feel like I need to see, like when it's buy versus buy later on, I feel like I need to see something better than that in how they defend the long area, because I mean you need a little more coordination than that. Like it's just unusual, but there's time to recover. It is a best of one though, so there isn't too much time to recover.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be quite a huge upset. I would say, like a pretty enormous upset for me personally, if North were to lose this map. I think typically Dust2 has been a map in which they have found a lot of success, so they have huge degrees of comfort, and then on top of that, they are actually they're a pretty solid unit. They're a good coordinated team with a great distribution of a very high level of individual ability on top of that. And I think in both of those regards, that's Big are struggling. So we'll be quite curious to see how Dennis plays when he gets the AWP out, because maybe he'll be able to prove me wrong today.
Yeah, I think this map is going to give us a lot of information as to where Big are at the moment in that respect, the players they have on the team. It was a shame that Smear bailed. Tenure wasn't that long, but we'll see what Dennis is able to do. Dust2 a great challenge, especially against Yugi. Definitely effective on the open maps of the AWP is Yugi. AZ will be heard connecting with that smoke grenade, but Xantares is ill-equipped for the duel. Godby will do the best he can. Flashes just about everybody, gets one frag, but he has lots of information for his team, so I expect a full rotation. We have had Tizian push through B tunnel at the same time.
Yeah, this is huge for North. They've gained a 4 versus 3 advantage, superior weaponry. They've got all the time in the world. Another headshot to boot for Valde as Dennis throws in the flash and takes a peek. But there isn't really all that much that he or Tizian can accomplish at this point. And they did force it up, so it looks like they're pretty much committed to try to get some damage here at the very least.
Big pop flash. If he has timing, he can go again as well. So he's seen 3 players. Now if he just waits a little longer for the second one, it won't wait too long. Oh, it really needed one frag from that. Now he could use the smoke to try and create space, Tizzy, and that HE could be really interesting. Oh, it does minimal damage. They're so clumped together. That could have been so much more. I think if he dropped the smoke, maybe he could have played around it a little bit. Obviously, they're in a bad situation regardless, but with the pop flashes, they did what they needed to do, or needed to attempt at the very least. But that's a solid anti-eco from North.
And one of the cool things that I think we've seen so far from North, and I think absolutely was something that they were always pretty good at anyway, even before Valde, was just playing in a disciplined manner and trying to make sure that, much like, Astralis, I think, the classic Danish example of efficiency and discipline when it comes to not giving away. If there's an opportunity where you could maybe give away a frag, they won't do it. They'll try to make it as efficient as possible. And given the way that they reset Big after the first round was won by Big, the momentum and the cash flow for North is going to be out of this world. And you can see, I think, as we switch to this position now, there's already 3 people dead, and the bomb is going down. So this is looking like it could be a clean one as well. There it is, and it is completely clean. Their money is really, really, really good. That's going to be very annoying to play against.
I don't think I saw enough money for an AWP on the likes of Big, which is not really the best start, especially after these rounds have come and gone. So let's see what they're able to do. Will there be a sacrifice in terms of rifles for more utility as well? Plenty of questions to come. We've got the wireless mice on deck. I wonder what percentage. I think it'd be cool to have surveys on things at majors, like what percentage of people are using wireless mice and things like that, just to see how tech progresses. So yeah, Big teams are going to be waiting for those AWPs, so it is a gratis round for North, or it should be, but 2 of the players are heavily tagged. We've got plenty of flashbangs and the odd HE grenade to be used by the likes of Big. However, Kiabi's got some good position. He has been heard, though, but he's got another player in tow, and that's going to be that's a long exchange of frags, but it's a 2 versus 2. Maybe there are rifles to collect for Tizian and Godby.
One really cool thing there as well, very quickly, is that Kirby actually baited for his teammate coming through the double doors by attracting attention and then delaying his peak so his teammate could peek first. That is like the level of detail that this team is looking at, and they'll pick off another one, leaving Tizian in the 1 versus 2, but with no money yet already for the team. And I mean, they will actually, that said, they should be full buying the next round. He will actually escape with the AK-47, which makes a lot of sense. There is utility left on North. He's got hit, like no Kevlar himself. He's picked up a couple nades too. So this is the best play, I'm sure, for Big.
Yeah, he's holding basically $4,000 because an incendiary on the CT side is $600. Gun's about 31, smoke, so he saved himself $4,000 with those 3 items. So that is fantastic for him. Now they've got all the money in the world. We'll soon see what the buy is. And these are the current GG bet numbers. 1.27 for North. 3.48 for Big. It's up to them to try and shorten those odds as the tournament continues.
That looks really reasonable to me. Like that, to me, that makes a lot of sense, those odds. Again, clear favorites are North. Big, though, definitely known for an upset or 2. And speaking of 2, we have 2 AWPs on the CT side, and that will be Dennis there. We talked about it, and he'll get the first kill onto Gate. Oh, no, they're actually lining up as they move through the tunnels here. They have to get something done here, and the great flash comes out from Valde for AZ to finish off 2 players on the entry, so they will equalize the situation and get a bomb plant. Santaris will try to distract and create some presence towards the double doors, but he can't push in before his teammates are there. And there's actually still, I think Gobi was chilling around the catwalk area there. I think expecting that there could be a 3rd player lurking around. You always got to be worrisome on that.
Santaris has a molly which he could line up to go exactly where Valde is standing, but it seems that they're going to back off. They've been delayed too much as they approached, and they're going to take the conservative route. It's taken them 7 rounds to get 1 full buy in Big, so I think they're going to try and hold on to what they have and maybe spread the wealth of their loss bonus on for the other 2 players. But that's another round in the bag for North, 5-2. Nothing too crazy in terms of score just yet, but Big yet to really have an impact on this game.
It's a pretty intelligent way also for North to play if they're expecting there to be double orbs, because if you can get past that initial choke point, we saw how difficult and tumultuous it was, then you've run the round essentially. It's very difficult for the CTs to rotate in time and offer any help. But the double orbs, of course, do continue for Big, and Dennis has actually made his way down to lower tunnels. This is devious. I have to see if North can have a response to this or if it will be good. Absolutely, it will be. Dennis playing aggressive with the AWP, creating openings for the team as we see Tabs in there lurking towards Catwalk. Surely you wouldn't expect the other AWP to be so aggressive over by Catwalk as well. We'll have to see if North can deal with that. They've got some serious things to think about in this round, and you can see they will give up the tunnels position so they can rally towards long.
So Gobi just deliberately made a step to suggest that he's standing behind the door, which may force them to throw a Molotov there, for example, which you can do through the double doors, just make them use some more utility. Valde looks to be lining something up. It is a flashbang. And another one. So the chain flashes, and out they come. Not too concerned with the door North, and we'll see if Gobi can get it back into position in time. Of course he will, because they've got to worry about the car and various other angles. But it's the little things like that which you might not notice, which are pretty cool. Now Zentara is in position with Gobi to try and do something, although they can be separated by a smoke. And there's the lurk smoke that we could have seen in that eco round towards the end before. Just makes it harder to approach the site itself. There's a pop flash from a 3rd person, although it seemed to have bounced backwards off of something. That didn't quite work out for them. And neither will the headshots from AZ and Kiabi. 3 versus 3 though, so Big still have a chance.
Yeah, 2 really quick kills, and that's so important. Tizian will try to creep in the gap. So no one's looking at that. No one actually checked for the smoke and whether it had a gap or not, and the trade at least comes out from AZ. He's had a great round so far as the entry frags go. And oh my god, that looked absolutely on. I have no idea how that missed. Do my eyes deceive me, James?
I think it was kind of near the shoulder neck, but I don't think it was either it was off or he was still moving, but I don't think he was moving. Okay, I think he was just slightly missed.
Maybe my eyes just suck.
Maybe they do. Yeah, that was it was unfortunate. There's a sign above the ramp area which a flashbang hit. So they want to make that pop flash maybe through the smoke or before the smoke goes down. But that flash didn't quite go where it was supposed to go, and just went from bad to worse from there. So there was a late take of long after some issues towards B, and then they were successful for the rest of it. So we'll see if things can get turned around. Another technical pause. Not sure what it is, but I guess I can't see the money right now, but I guess they're in eco territory. I think maybe two or three of the players might have like 2,900 before the previous round ended, but they want to buy together, so probably in eco territory. Oh no, they're good to go. All right, well, we've got the 1 AWP this time. Gobby will be reduced to the MP9, but he's a dab hand with those kind of weapons. In the right situation. Dust2, though, not a good map to have an MP9.
So cat control very quickly for North. This is not a default. This is just we are going to walk and play contact on cat, it would seem. And this might catch Big off guard, and you can see it absolutely will. tabseN did not expect them to be there so quickly with so many players, and Gade will try to charge his way forwards as Quick Molotov will make sure that the side is clear as well. Gade taking as deep a position as he can get to deal with Gob B, and he will absolutely do that. Flashes coming in all over the place, but the bomb will be planted, and Xantares might be up to him now as he's lost his teammate. He gets a headshot at least, but he's down critically low, and it doesn't seem like there's a way back in now for Big and North. But they're really hitting Big with some good rounds, James.
Was he just spotted crossing? I think maybe he was, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're being contested in places, North, but they're just winning every duel, it seems, or all the ones that matter. Obviously, they're abusing the numbers as well, which you do on the T side, but we haven't really seen, like, as far as Big trying to take the game away from North, we've seen that play from Dennis where he put the smoke down and went to lower tunnel, but you could do that like once a half. That's not a thing I think I've ever seen in a professional match where you bounce the door through the smoke, or at least not for a very long time. It's quite gimmicky, and it's not something you can consistently rely on. And Dennis, actually, in terms of kills, he's doing pretty good at the moment with 10. His team, not so much. It seems they're getting run over at the moment.
Yeah, and it's partly due to some good calling, really, honestly, on behalf of North. They're not really playing that default heavy in this game so far. They've been playing a lot of read-based Counter-Strike, which is always good to see. Dust2 is a good map for it as well because the rotations are so long between the bomb sites for the CTs that if you as the T side can find a very good timing to exploit, as we saw on Catwalk there, then any other team's expecting maybe a default, they're expecting that they have more time to set up or find information, then if you can absolutely just crush them. And we're going to see something similar here. We get a very fast push, very, very fast timing down middle. You run down suicide with the AWP covering you. And if you expect that the other team doesn't have AWPs or anyone checking middle or double doors, you get down to mid 140, which is ridiculous.
So double smokes, one for the low, one for the high in case somebody's been boosted up or self-boosted. Off the corner of the boxes, tabseN with a P250, making a hero play. Surely only gets one. Oh, look at the carnage in the meantime. Up close to the 5-7, Xantares, and now he's got an upgrade. Maybe a cheap round for Big, and it certainly will be. Look how many rifles they take away from that. That gives them an extra buy. They take 4 rifles out of an eco round, which is fantastic for them. I don't think North needs to be too worried in general about that particular round. It happens. It is what it is. They've been very strong on the buy versus buy, so just on to the next one.
Yeah, one of the crazy things for me is it seems very common that you don't have anybody watching the smoke push, yet the smoke push is something that kind of has to happen for the CTs, because if you just wait for those smokes, then you've missed a key timing in the round, and you can see how powerful it is to have the distraction. But we see AZ actually catching Tizzy and going very aggressive up on the box there. Dennis will turn his attention to try to find some form of a defense here, but the flashbangs coming in will deny him mostly, and
this is a save, man.
He didn't even get a chance to fire a shot there. That's well done by North, and again, and also playing this type of Counter-Strike where they're almost forcing Big to take gambles as a response. Like, where do we stack? Do we try to predict what they're going to do? They don't seem to be playing defaults. They just seem to be kind of going for fast timings and different. I mean, we saw a fast timer at Catwalk, down middle, through tunnels twice now. Long really has been usually a delayed effort from North.
That's a risky peek from Tizian. If the Ts have a good spawn, then it's a nice angle to take. The problem for the CTs is that once you jump onto that ledge, you can't like if you crouch, you're still visible. You have to get off the other side of the ledge behind the barrels and be crouching to be hidden. So you're kind of like fully committed. Once you're there, if the T's have an angle already, you can't really get away from your position unless you throw a flash over the wall, over the box rather. So that's another quick round. But again, once the shot from the window is missed and the smoke hits the door, his teammates are so far away. That's it. Like that's an instant save. Just been outmaneuvered and. Well, that gives them extra money for another buy, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. I really like that they had AZ on the AWP because of the timing to specifically punish that.
Speaking of timing, now we've got Yugi heading towards the long position. He avoids all the flashbangs and Gobby gets taken out for free. And the rest of the grenades will come far too late. Yugi moves into position as they have a man advantage and they will gamble that through the grenades. Oh my God. Okay, well, that's another round over. We have a two-man push from the B bomb site, but do they dare go through towards a short position? They're going the very long way around T-spawn. The problem is that it makes their, if they are going to try and do something, it makes their chances even lower because Xantares has absolutely no help. So Dennis and Tizian now in T-spawn, and Valde is looking for them. He's been waiting, and he'll get taken out. But again, it's another round which has just been deleted. Now, the problem is, in some of these rounds, big, you know, last round they saved 4 weapons. This round, I won't say they could have saved 3. I think Xantares was going to die on his sword there. But they don't have many more rounds to try and win in this half. They've only got 3 so far, and we're about to move to round 13. So we've got some big issues here for Big. No pun intended.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Big are in a moment, in a phase of their team as well, where morale is one of those things that can be triggered as you know, to be an issue very quickly if things aren't going well. You know, you saw like very, very clear frustration from Xantares after he mistimed his peak. Dennis did a good job surviving with the AWP though. Looks like he will actually be rewarded with that. But again, ultimately, it would appear that the buys do not matter as far as North are concerned. They've been running them over fairly effectively by picking they've been picking great rounds to run into Big with. I don't know if it's some of the research that they've done or if it's just a specific reads that they have in this particular moment.
They're just playing spawns. Like AZ has a great spawn towards B. He's got that AWP once again, and he's going to go for the same peak. And we don't see what he saw, but we've got Tizian very close. Okay, he's been smoked off. So smoking off is one thing, flashing, you know, different options. Surely grenades will be heard being primed, but Kiabi's there for the pre-fire, so they have a good idea. And again, they're just bundling in, abusing the numbers advantage over their opponent. The door's been smoked, but there might be a slightest of gaps. No, there won't be. In case there's a push, then it's going to hold his pistol out. But this is difficult because it's another round where they should save Big, but how many rounds can you just continue to save for?
Well, that's the thing. It's like the half is almost over. And again, yeah, it's like, it's so funny because, you know, North are finding these rounds where if they get that one pick, they just win the round. They can snowball the round after that point because, as you say, not only are they playing spawns, in which case you're playing very fast timings, and the rotations are extremely punishing on the CT side of Dust2. They're also generally very tight insofar and packed together. As far as their movements are concerned, and also how good their flash timings are as well. Those have been really nice to watch. And it's just been Save Simulator 2019 here for Big.
Yeah, we need to bear that in mind at this point when we look at the stats and see like Dennis is far ahead, but he's been saving weapons and he got a 3K in the round prior, just holding on to his AWP. So I don't know if we can really read into the stats of Big at this point, bearing in mind the saving that they've had to be doing in many of these rounds.
They have a B spawn again as well. So let's see how they use this. They might try to jump down middle, as we saw, because they've done B so many times here. All right, so it looks like they'll go towards B with 3 players here. I'm waiting to see if this develops into a default because we've not really seen any defaults from North. And I mean, at this point, you've forced Big to play 2-3 because they're so worried about fast timings. They have to give up mid in the early portions of the round. That's why rushing down middle can actually be quite effective after sort of conditioning your opponents to be absolutely afraid of your rush timings. But instead, indeed, North actually go for a default, maybe one of their first in this half, and they'll take Catwalk, and they've got presence around Longhouse and Tunnels.
Big won the pistol.
Yeah, yes, they did.
But they've only got 3 rounds. 2 rounds remain in this first half. Seems that North are trying to force Big to overextend. Big has still got a lot of their flashes at the very least, so in terms of counter utility, they've got a few things they can do. But now North have shown presence towards A. They're going to start to move through the mid doors once again. A second set of smokes for the split. Dennis will spot something, but what can he really do about it? There is a poultry flashbang. The smoke may help, but it's a desperate time. And there's a flying AZ, and Tizian can't answer either. And again, what can you do? You're 3 versus 5. You've got 3 rounds. Second last round and a half, but now it's the fight for survival. They've been hunted when they've been trying to save. So this looks rough as they move into the last round of the first half.
One of the brilliant things about this round from North is the simplicity of it. So they start off in a default, and then what they do is around the normal timings, they throw the sort of lurk smoke towards the top of catwalk stairs, which suggests that they may be trying to do an execution behind that, which keeps the players on A for the duration of that smoke. And at the same time, they're moving down towards middle to go for a B split because they forced 3 players to sit on A. And then they have the one player, I think it was AZ, who basically throws a lurk smoke at perfect timing towards B. Now what that stops the big B players from doing is pushing into the upper tunnels, which is one of the ways you can hold those B splits if your A players are really far away. You take the tunnels away, let them have the site, then you have a way to play a retake. And instead, they have to worry about the fact that there's a smoke down there, and they have no idea how many players are behind there. And they're just screwed. They're just absolutely screwed. And speaking of which, they're getting drilled by an auto sniper and AWPs. So North are really just putting a masterclass of Dust2 on for Big here. And speaking of auto snipers, looks like it's not going to work out for God B there. AZ with the Krieg, and long will be taken. There's no resistance beyond God B there. So North looking for that 12-3 finish.
A rough start for Big at the European minor. Dennis and Tabson with AWPs, but there are plenty of smoke grenades for North, so as they look to cross the line, there is a lot for them to do. Dennis pushing in the B tunnel, but he'll have no more challenges there. So it's a 2 versus 4 on the A bomb site. Zantara's trying to do what he can, edging forward, but won't get anything done. Tabson will take AZ out. It's a double AWP retake. That smoke not really going to help him too much unless one of the North players overextend. Both big players towards the A site now. But again, how do you avoid getting traded with just AWPs to fight with? Oh dear. Well, that's a good start. Dancing around the Molotov. I don't know if North know that they're both there, but oh, now they do. I thought he had something there, but maybe not. And now it's an AWP party. You give the Deagle, though, could take out both these players. Even with the grenades, then it's at 1 HP, but it will be a shot through the smoke. Maybe had a read of what was going on, and it will be a much-needed 4th round for Big.
Yeah, that was the smart stuff. And Dennis has actually shone with the AWP. Although they haven't really, as a team, they couldn't deal with North strategically. I think this looks worse individually than it should. This was a strategic win from North, for sure.
Absolutely. We will go to a short break. When we're back, it'll be the second half. We'll see you back here soon. And it's time for the second half. We saw a much-needed additional rounds for Big, but the CT side was generally a nightmare. North just imposed their will from round to round, and it was a save simulator 2019. Hopefully there's no DLC for the second half, and they can turn their fortunes around.
Well, there won't be time for any of that because they have so few rounds. As far as the save simulator goes, they definitely have time to turn it around. So we'll have to find out what they'll do with regards to that. We saw that North played a style of Dust2 that didn't really have too many defaults. It was more about exploiting rotations, explosive plays, keeping it simple, having good spacing, good flashbang usage, and overall, like as a team, North played really well. Like, and the strategic decisions were fantastic. I really enjoyed that, and that's definitely a very strong style on Dust2. Now Big have to replicate that, and they need to start off with the pistol round win. We see tabseN with the bomb on his back, just harassing from T-Spawn, trying to keep an eye on things here as Valde pokes his head out with some assistance from AZ around Catwalk, but with that smoke down, you can see that Big understand what it means, that a CT could possibly be behind there, and they will make sure that AZ and Valde are unable to do anything there as they themselves move into Catwalk control. And North are playing a 2-3 setup. And it looks like Big will make their way towards A shortly. Or maybe not. Or maybe so.
Ready and waiting with their USPs. Xiaobi has a flashbang, but he's over towards the B bomb site. That will not be helpful to the A guys. You can see Valde's playing anti-flash. We've got tiziaN showing some presence in the meantime. Those are reasonable pre-fires. It's not too obvious that he's baiting, in my opinion anyway. And there's the flashbang. AZ caught out. There's one play towards CT, so they know they've got a numbers advantage as they run towards the A bomb site. Now, ideally, they want to hold down the short position and plant for short, which is what they're doing at the moment.
And here goes Valde and the rest of North looking to go for that retake. Their headshots all over the place here, but all in favor of North, leaving tabseN and Xantares. And it's a good start for tabseN, but there's two more players where that came from. Now all about Xantares. He's got the P250, so that's ideal, but they will close the distance. These CTs, he realizes that he takes the duel, gets the first, but the second will not be his. Xiaobi will be taking that round, taking the defuse. And the worst has happened. Big will drop the second half pistol, and now they're in dire straits, but at least they got the bomb down.
Yeah, that was quite the flurry of headshots from North. The defuse kit's always important as well for that extra bit of confidence. They may have defused it without, but it's always good to be with. Well, that's not the start that Big wanted. Now, do they go for the force buy, or with the plant, do they just wait until the next round? We shall see. It looks like they have lost too many rounds, and they will go for the force buy. We may have seen plenty more rifles, but they want space to try and recover. They want to be able to lose a round later on. Obviously, hoping they win this round and take some rifles away from their opponents. So I feel like in a situation like this, I would think that Godby is going to be doing a lot of the talking. For all the structure he had for the team before, trying to get something done when you don't really have all the tools for the job. I feel like it's very much Godby territory. Some fishing at the moment between the mid doors, but North are abusing their range advantage for the most part. So no one's standing close to the doors, not going to allow those pistols to be abused potentially, or SMGs or something like that. Obviously, they don't know what Big have right now, apart from a scout. So they will try to do all the usual stuff. 2-1-2 set up now for North as they wait for Big to make their play.
It will be a couple Molotovs, so this position by Gage should be dealt with, but how much can he distract? Gage does not have a smoke. That would be pretty awesome if he did, because surely there's got to be a molly coming here, but in fact, they'll just use the Krieg to deal with that instead, as AZ now by the car position with the UMP has a lot of work to do. Gets himself one. The second, quite just as easy, leaving tabseN by himself here in the bomb site. tiziaN's a little bit too far away to trade that one, and now he's alone with the Deagle. Manages to find himself the upgrade, but can he do anything else? The flashbang comes in, beautiful stuff here, and a two-man push leaves tiziaN without a hope in hell. And that will be another round converted by the likes of North, as they are quickly moving towards the win on Dust2.
The force buy failed. Surely it's eco territory now, and they'll have to do it the very, very, very hard way. Looks at the menu of weapons, not much choice really if you think about it. But a Deagle will come out. So some Desert Eagles here or there. Dennis has the spawn, I think, to go for that peek that we saw earlier on. I don't know if Gade's going to engage him, though. There'll be a Molotov there, and indeed, Gade will have the off angle, so not taking that additional risk as it doesn't deem it necessary. A molly, then a smoke, safely crosses to the other side. Very smart stuff. Minimize the opportunities for Big to get something, an opening into a bomb site or anything like that.
And you can see that North actually anticipate a catwalk push. They've got both Kirby and Yugi on the ramp there, which is really ideal to stop the push that comes from catwalk into the short plant. That is typically what you expect from rounds such as this, and that smoke only serves to confirm it. They know that they can't have much utility at this in a round like this, so they know that that absolutely is a play to be made, and Xantares, with said play, finds a headshot. But Kirby, as mentioned, in position to deal with this, buying time, getting frags, and, well, he might just finish it off, and Valdi's going to lend him a hand, and that's 14-4 for North.
Yep, that was the round Big had to just give up. So here they are, 10 rounds behind. It's doable, but they have only 2 rounds which they can, well, only 1 round which they can give up, not 2. Now, we have to forget the nightmare. Look at those odds, that's absolutely crazy. We have to forget about the nightmare of the first half because the second half can be utterly different. It hasn't been so far, but now they've got their bye. This is the time to change it. It will be Gobby looking for revenge in that long position with the AWP. Spawn based, of course, but he misses his flick. That was the chance they needed, and it's missed.
Yeah, you're right. You're completely right. Like, that's a shot that you can't miss. And with the amount of pressure on them, considering how far behind they are, especially now in this situation, and now it's going to be difficult to find another opportunity. North have been quite good at being disciplined and not giving away picks. We actually saw on Big CT side that they were a bit more free when it came to giving away peaks to the big play, rather the North players to exploit. And Molly will force Kirby off the ledge, as it is designed to do. Allowing Xantares a slightly easier way up, but you can see the response from North. They are actually dumping quite a lot of utility there on short. And Kirby moves towards CT to help protect against the B split. He's got AZ there on the other side as well. Oh, Xantares will find Kirby, and here comes the... Well, they don't have to commit into a B play. They have time here. They could go back to A. And looks like that might be on the cards now as they go up to shorts.
Valde and Yugi creeping in spawn. North are not going to have position on the A site at all. Surely this is going to turn into a safe situation for them. They don't have the utility to really go for a retake. Now, if there is a drop into spawn, maybe that would spur them on if they got a frag, but that smoke may stop that from happening. So we've got a full execute from Big, looking better on the T side. And indeed, it will be North saving immediately, just moving away. Smart stuff. They need to build their money as well. And they've got plenty. Well, they can afford some. I won't say they can afford plenty of round losses because that just builds confidence and momentum in your opponent and can be formidable and difficult to deal with.
And this is some of the discipline we were talking about before, because I could easily see like 1 or 2 players dying before they decide that they would save. And I mean, Dust2 is one of those maps too, much like Inferno, where sometimes you can just say, it's very easy to say, well, we're clearly beat on the rotations here. There's clearly no chance really for us to have time to go for this. So there you go. Big will pick up their first gun round on the second half. However, there's many more that are required. Just 9 more in a row to equalize.
Just the odd 9 rounds. Nobody with a spawn for long, so there'll be no AWP peak in that direction from Big. And they're not throwing the AWP to the player close towards B. So I guess we're going to see a very different kind of half than we saw from North on North T side. But they are mostly heading towards the B area. But again, not anything crazy. But North have been meticulous and efficient. The Molotov is down, stopping any early shenanigans. Again, the smoke is up before Gade moves the other side quietly. So no indication, no sound cues, nothing. Nothing for free from North, it seems. Yugi will be comfortable on the long position. He's getting more aggressive with his AWP peak, so I do wonder if Tizian gets closer to those doors, he may get a surprise frag. Oh, did Tabson just get shot in the head by his teammate? I think he might have.
I think he got shot in the arse.
Based on a flashbang. I heard a bell. There was definitely a bell on there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sucks. What do they suspect? Gade is playing this position. This is such an awesome position. Especially if you, especially if you have a teammate to play off of to allow some distraction, but Gade peaks a little bit too soon there, and he will be taken down. You're really relying upon your teammate to help you out, but it wasn't an option, it would appear. Ooh, that was a close one. And a retake is available here for North if they want to go for it. They've got plenty of time, and the only thing that they're really lacking is retake utility. A couple incendiaries would really go a very long way, and they're going to have to give it up again. So another round, much like the last, where North decide that they have just simply been beaten on the rotations.
We've seen some noble comebacks of late in Counter-Strike. So as bad as the first half looked for Big, let's not count them out. Yeah, one Molotov, the one at Big throw, the one I learned from Big, which basically covers that horrible angle underneath the window all the way to double stack. It covers so much ground. It's so strong for the retake, along with the odd flashbang. But there'll be no retakes, not yet. 3 players look to survive for North. Now let's see if Big can keep the pressure up. Again, they've got 1 round they can let slide, just 1. But they will have no intention of even giving that one up. What do you think of them so far on the T side?
I think so far so good, but there will be a time where their sort of resilience in the mid-round is tested, where we're going to get like a 3v3 or something, which is highly contested. And ultimately, in a lot of those situations, as we saw in the first half, it was really very favorable for North. Just North looked to be individually, packing much more of a punch. And so that eventually is going to be a problem. I mean, as mentioned, North were doing similar to what Big are doing right now, which is just finding ways to win rounds by crushing their rotations, in the sense that we have like these B hits where North just don't suspect it, and there's a fast and a Big engineer a very fast pick, and then you kind of snowball it. But eventually North will have a they'll be able to stop that, and that's what I'm really interested to see. Oh, Molly actually running straight through it. Ooh. Oh no, that is a disaster, Yugi.
I feel like he was done for anyway. Put him out of his misery, so they can't celebrate the frag themselves. That is brazen from Gade. He had nobody to support him with it. Actually, AZ had flashes. Yeah. So I don't know what that was about. He's got 2 flashes right there, and now AZ's dead as well. So that may be not the best approach for North, but they're still in this. Going for the retake, unlike the big rounds, and now the bomb's been lost. Gobby has 1 minute 15 to play with, and he's got 2 players to find. Valde's got all of 7 HP, and there's no real opportunity for him to pick up the AWP and Yugi to pick up a rifle, as Yugi can take a duel. But Yugi has the angle. Doesn't have an angle, he has the angle. And you've got to favor him, although the Krieg is pretty dangerous. Standing in a smoke, Gobby, he's not going to last very long, is he? And there it is, match point for North.
Absolutely. Looking pretty stressful now for Big, to say the least. And yeah, you do wonder about that drop from Gade. I don't know what caused him to do that, because it's a pretty strong position. Even if they have to check, even if they're running into check for you, it's still very awkward for them to deal with. Oh dear!
Oh, did he even see Dabson? I don't think he even saw him. I think he just took the usual blind shot as you do with an AWP. That's really unfortunate. But they are at match point, so I guess it doesn't really matter. 2 AWPs now for North as AZ gets boosted back onto the site. 3 players over towards A for North. Everybody's got flashes but Kiabi. And Gade has made his way through B tunnel, so they know exactly where all of Big are. And surely Big are doomed. Valde just taking 1 versus 1s on his own 3-man spray down. Makes it look pedestrian. There's just no answer from Big.
Absolutely not. There is. I mean, this is the problem. Individually, North are looking quite good, but wow. Speaking of which, Tizian landing a couple of great headshots here on 36 points of health, so he's quite wounded. And A is his only option, and North know it, and they have him boxed in. If he crosses, he'll be up against 2 AWPs. If he tries to go back, he's going to have somebody on a sheer angle with an M4. There is no way to win this, and he will not and it is going to be a very clean victory for the Danes. Very well played to them. They played a great T side, and in every single facet, it looked like the better team.
Yeah, I think this is the expected result. It's the right result. So fantastic for North. They didn't really look challenged in that. So as far as North are concerned and the shape they're in, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty promising at the beginning of this minor. However, looking over towards the big side, before the match started, you had all the statistics for their maps. This wasn't one of their greater ones. I think it was about 30% Dust2. The CT side was almost non-existent, bearing in mind they won the pistol and just about won the last round. It wasn't really a hard pull for them. So with more yet to come, they've really got to find a way to have some kind of advantage in their future matches.
Yeah, I do actually want to see more and more from Big. I feel like we didn't get to see that much because of the nature of how this Dust2 kind of played out. Because that first half that was so dominant from North, again, so much of it was just won strategically.
Yeah.
And we didn't see as much as the individual shining. Because Dennis looked like he was ready to actually go off on this game. But we didn't. I mean, every time he was in a position with the North, he actually delivered. So, but they didn't have any positions to deliver from. So that was a problem.
Yeah, pretty difficult for Big. So if you're a fan of Big, I don't really know what the where the joy is. Where is the sunshine through the clouds? I don't know if we're going to see it this tournament, but hopefully we do. We want everybody to be competitive, and you want to see some kind of promise, even if they can't make it, even if it's not the time for the current team to make it to the rest of the tournament. At least we can see something from them. Now it's over to Sue on the stage with North.
Thank you very much, James. I'm here with Valde after a very clean-looking victory for you guys. You know, what was that like for you, coming off of that almost month break from your last event and kicking things off with the first match of the day with such a clean, convincing victory?
Feels amazing, to be honest. I'm at my third minor, I think, and yeah, I didn't make it to the major from the last two, so I think it's really important for me personally, but also for the team to qualify this time. And yeah, obviously getting that initial win is really crucial towards like the rest of the tournament, so I'm really happy.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. And something that really stuck out to me was that you guys had such a strong T side to kick things off. And the last time I talked to you all the way back at ECS, that was something specifically you had talked about wanting to work on with the team, which is the T sides across maps. So, you know, what has that process been like for you?
It's been a tough learning curve as a new in-game leader, but obviously I'm doing my best, and I actually think we had some really good T-side results during the last months of practice. So that's all I can go from, and I'm really glad we also showed a good T-side here in our first official game. So I'm just looking forward to playing another match.
And I know that it's been about like a month and a half now since you've been in-game leading, and back when you first started, there were a lot of changes you had to get used to, not just in-game leading, but also Yugi coming into the team and everything. So now that you've had some time to settle in and get used to playing with one another, what are the new things that the team is now working on?
Well, I think your playstyle is something you're always trying to improve. For me, it's about finding a balance between not being too structured and not being too loose. Yeah, it's a constant struggle as an in-game leader, as I said before, and right now I actually think we have a really good balance between input from the other guys and me being able to read the game as I want to. So yeah, really overall happy with our performance here, and I'm looking forward to playing the next game.
And speaking of the next game, it's going to be one of two Swedish teams with either Ancient or Fnatic. Is there a preference there? Because interestingly enough, today, at least in the Americas minor, we saw a lot of upsets. So do you think that we might see one here as well?
I actually think it's really possible. I think Ancient has some really good individual players, and yeah, I think they've been looking pretty strong lately. And always the derby matches can go either way. You know, I don't think anyone is a favorite in those. It's always close games, but I think Fnatic will take the win.
We'll see if that's indeed the case, as that is the next match. But for now, congratulations once again. We'll catch up with you later. Back to Alex at the desk.
Sue, I appreciate that. Right back at you. I am your host, Machine, and I am joined by two beautiful human beings. We do have Matthew Maniac Kikre and none other than Jona Natu Leppanen. They're joining me, our analysts. Taking a break from the mouse and keyboard and turning to the pen and paper as we are going to be breaking this one down. What is your main observation there? Sometimes it's hard to analyze games like that, Matthew, because we just sit there and go, the better team won.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's just the case. The better team won. We talked about before the game how the list of if or win condition for Big was just too big, and I'm sorry, we're gonna have to say it, too large of a list.
Too long.
And it just didn't work. And when you're North, individually speaking, they were one step ahead. Tactically speaking, they were one step ahead. Every A plan basically worked. Usually when they were playing one area of the map, they found the opening frag, and then the round was over. How many times were we watching the TV and the round is 13 seconds in and we see them, or we see big saving weapons?
I mean, the observations towards B we were making, I don't know what you thought about it, Natu, but it did just feel like if they wanted to, they get one frag and then Dennis is smoked off with an AWP and the game's over. The round's over.
There's nothing you can really do at that point. And then you have to have a lot of more, like you have to be able to thin down the numbers for a B post-plan situation to be anywhere viable for a CT side. But what I thought was pretty curious was the fact that there were actually, you know, plenty of rounds were on par from like a tactical perspective, where they had some pretty good like defensive mollies to slow things down, you know, good setups. They were in even numbers, but they were just losing straight up duels or making some wild peaks or things just not happening the way that they were supposed to. So they did construct those rounds into possible wins, but they were just not nailing the shots when they needed to.
So there was, and here we go, I don't watch basketball. Are you ready for a basketball analogy? There was a layup, but no dunk.
Yeah, no,
right?
I really
Look at me.
Right on the money.
Sports.
Ooh, sporty. No, I agree with Natu. And I have a round in mind. I think that was round number 8. Scoreline is 6-2. And at this point, Big is 5 versus 4 with 2 AWP. This is basically the perfect situation on the CT side. And then North just basically executes out of long, and it goes flawless for them. Then it's 4 versus 2. They have the bomb side. And you just think, if in that scenario, they cannot conclude the round, that's it. In my mind, as an analyst, I know it's it.
Yeah.
There's no coming back from a round like that.
You talked about him as well, Matthew. You paid off. I mean, a bit of a profit in this case, Kia, but he did have a fantastic game.
I mean, he keeps on going, and as I said in the pregame segment, I'm going to need to see more events to make sure, to be sure of my assessment.
But there's a correlation you think you've noticed.
Definitely,
I mean,
Kirby is activated.
Curious also the fact that, you know, Yugi, an opper on a map like Dust2, which is very op-friendly, not really having, you know, that massive of an impact. And also, if you go through the whole scoreboard for North, it was pretty much a team effort for them.
Yeah, it's true. And because of all those saves as well, you were pointing to me, Maniac, that actually the score did not suggest it was about to end. It looked like barely people breaking into double digits.
Yeah, exactly. When the scoreline was 11-3, the kills difference was almost none. There was no kill difference between the two teams, and this is a signal that rounds were decided very early on. And we talked about Yugi not being that impactful, but poor Yugi. They were giving the AWP to AZ when he had the spawn towards B, to Kirby when he had it towards long. So we talked about it. They sometimes play spawn base, so yes, Yugi's role is a little bit more, I won't say less important, but it's part of the system, right? And if it's working, who do you complain?
Yeah, I mean, a dampened Yugi for a convincing win, it's a price I think anyone would be willing
I
to
mean,
pay.
who cares of the scoreboard as long as you're winning, right?
Yeah,
like, that has to be the mentality you have.
Absolutely, and winning, of course, not the case for Big in this one. They are going down to the lower bracket. It does seem like there's a lot of sighing, doubt, exhaling. You know what question was about to come is what are their chances? They'll be playing the loser of Fnatic or Ancient. And I mean, the fact that North did so convincingly, Fnatic, Ancient, they're not far away from the Northern boys.
I mean, the problem is that there is a surprise component in the best of one, so there is a world in which Big plays against Fnatic in the best of 3, and that would be horrible. But even if they go up against Ancient, the Big that we just saw and the way they play, to me, that is scary. First of all, Tabson is too silent, in my opinion, and can we please unburden him a little bit and just let him be a star, right? And then Gob B, again, 4 frags, and I don't want to just hit on him, like, I don't want to badmouth Gob B, but still, if you're going to be a player, 4 frags in the game, it's just not enough. When you're an in-game leader, sure, but now you need to do more.
What's even more worrying for me is the fact that a bit of a puggy style can be kryptonite to this Big team, like I alluded to before this game as well. You showcase a bit of aggression, and the Big plan just kind of crumbles along with it. So that's not a good prospect going to the lower bracket game.
Especially against